Welcome on back here this afternoon, Wednesday, September 13th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Great to see Gator Don with us here inside our chat board. Great to see Don, of course. Michael, Brad, and all of our students and members alike inside our live trading room. John and Leda included, loud and clear from them. Giving me the green light, so to say. Great to see Barbara, Brian, Roger as well. Got my water delivery finally, so good to go there. I feel good, feel happy, and with that in mind right now, RCKT Rocket trying to make a nice move up right now. Thankfully, actually, the order book definitely filled in a lot more. It still could have a bit of a spread at times, but at least there is at least some semblance of liquidity out there. You know, in pre-market, you really didn't have that after the open, although it moved up a little bit. Well, actually, it dropped and then moved up a little bit. You know, it's still back then it was like on a thin book and really big spread at times. So it seems like it's cooled down a little bit here, making it more tradable. You know, if anything, this is like more of a second win type of move. I feel like at least we've never really traded the stock up until today. Looks like it trades like, I mean, aside from yesterday where it traded like 1.1 mil, you know, to a quarter million there, 391,000 shares. So you know this stock, generally speaking, is a low volume type of stock. So let me actually go to the scanner here. We'll take a look. 76 million share float. I don't know what the short float of that is or the short percent of that float. But for right now, I'm going to treat this like any other, you know, stock that we see make like a low float pop up like this. You know, we'll come back to it if we need to. But otherwise, let's see what else we could work with right now heading into this afternoon. Now, hey, if you're Barbara, if you're John, if you're Brad or Leda inside our trading room, you know, hey, I've been making a couple call outs earlier heading into this meeting. Not a whole lot that was like really like refrigerator material, meaning, you know, put it on the refrigerator, show the parents. But Tesla ended up making the perfect over and under, looking for a short entry here with the market potentially slipping off and pulling back. You know, I was commenting to Brad earlier, one of our students, you know, the market hasn't gone anywhere. You know, it looked like it wanted to, but I wrote in the chat joking, like it's like tougher than a $5 steak, right? So once it pulled back a little bit, I said, you know, I thought that was going to be it right there. If it's not going to break any higher, then perhaps we see a shake back down heading into the close just across all of the markets. Again, we're coming off the CPI report today. Numbers were slightly worse than expected. So, you know, I honestly expected a larger drop off out the gate today, perhaps the calm before the storm here. So for Tesla, we're going to put this on our side list at least still. I want to make sure this trade at least remains over or under 270.250. If it blasts above 270.250 coming up, I'm likely going to get stopped out of my trade. I'm going to write this down for the side list at least, not the main list just yet. Tesla and the ETF, if anything, and also that Rocket on the side list if I need to come back to it. All right, so top of the gainers list, bunch of cheap stocks here. AVTX, IMPL, ZVSA. Try saying that 3 times fast. It's going to be really difficult to trade those cheap penny stocks. You know, I know we had our CGC fund last week and this week, but they're not all going to break like that. So, you know, FFIE here, nice little pop and run from earlier today. This one we actually are very familiar with. Looking back on the long-term chart, just you can see any big volume spike day that we had there over the last year and a half. Right here, namely, oh, you know what? Also, this stock probably is. This is the one that had the 1 for 80 reverse split. So, unfortunately, what you see on the daily chart does not reflect the actual prices that this was trading back then. But back from July last year, I remember we ran this up. It was a nice pop back then, and obviously pullback. So, you know, be careful. This stock right now, it's looking like it's trending back up towards the highs here, towards major resistance that we had at $5. You know, there's a trade yesterday that we did pretty well on actually coming off this very meeting. And I guess it's trying to perk back up a little bit right now. We'll run into it here at some point. WeWorks, well, you know, made such a nice re-break, broke above resistance at 5 and completely flew. Well, for as much as it parabolically moved up, you got to figure at some point it's going to come back down. But even as such, for what goes up, even if this was like a slower, steadier move, it's going to consolidate. It's going to finish its run. So, you know, going back to like the other trades that we had, what was it? Which one was the FFIE? You know, looks good right now, trading about 25,000 shares per minute in terms of active volume. I'm going to put this on our main list to begin, but you know, just be careful. That's all. I'll say that with any trade pretty much, but all right. What else can we get here? DZX or DZSI. There we go. My dyslexia tripping me up there. All right. We keep it moving. And VOS, actually, Brad pocketed like 6-7 cents, I think, on this trade. Nice cheapy stock, but he had gotten in off of 46 cents at like 53. So even better, I think, 7-cent profit from him inside our live trading room. My Tesla trade just kind of stumbling down towards 272. I was semi-joking when I said I hope it could self-drive down to 270. Keep it going here. What else can we get here on our gainers list? I mean, with the market going utterly nowhere, I'm not going to find really too many standout names that I somehow missed for the last 5 hours. You know what I mean? Like, we've been doing pretty well across the board. Here's a pretty interesting one. We have Halo, right? HALO. I'm not going to really put this on our watch list, but speaking of traders' dyslexia, Halo is the real stock that we're going to put on our watch list in terms of that name, like Halo. And then there's also one more as well that came out with news midday, but Halo, HOLO, would have found this on the loser side, number one on losers list, biggest loser. But right down to that $2 level, right, Yehuda? So there could be more room on the way down here. I think that there is some resistance at 213 there. It needed to flip into support first before we're expecting a pop. So if it can't do that, I'm expecting more of a drop-off here at this point, perhaps. So, yeah, the Halo trade. Then this one, Hoth, HOTH. This one really dove off. News came out earlier today, some common stock offering that came out. So with that said, I mean, ended up leading to a big drop-off. We normally don't trade that type of news. We don't expect a dead cat bounce on it. So, even if it does sneak back above $2, I'm not nearly going to be as interested in this as others. So for right now, that Halo trade looks good. The FFIE looks good. And we'll kind of jump back to the gainer side one last time just to wrap it up there and see if there's any I missed. And Kronos, actually, speaking of the pot stocks, they've been pretty funky of late, right? CGC, the leader of the pack, where Tilray normally has been. It's been a great week and a half with them. But today, they were down big once again, Tilray, CGC. Not this one. Kronos ended up having a pretty strong run-up earlier today. One of our students, Don, was looking at it, calling it out. It was a great trade at the time. Honestly, I was very not dismissive. I didn't even notice it at the time. When he called it out, I just assumed it was down with the rest of the pot stocks, like CGC tanking, Tilray just, donkey, that thing's flat. So this was up big. It was a nice, refreshing little trade here to have and still holding near the highs. I just think that the issue on this trade, as I said from the morning, was that it's almost too liquid. It's almost as if it has too much volume on the order book for it to try and break over and run. So from when we had said that, it pushed up an extra 5-7 cents. But I just feel like, especially with the rest of the other pot stocks not moving as well just yet, it might just be like a little too slow for us right now. All right. So with that said, anything else? AMC up 5+%. Actually had a nice run up until like 1 o'clock. I didn't notice that actually. I'm sure Rich had called it out, and I just didn't really check the chat up until about 2:15 a moment ago. I was in and out of a couple of coaching calls today, a couple of errands and doctor's appointments. It's been a long week of doctor's appointments for myself. GDRX, speaking of, how about that? Nice segue. Good RX. I swear I did not intentionally do that. So yeah, GDRX, nice little push up right now. The gripe I have on this trade is that it is trading next to no volume per minute, about like 2,000-3,000 shares per minute. What you hope to see on this trade is that you hope to see more eyeballs notice this stock after we finish up this meeting. So you know what? I'm going to put this on our watch list. Extremely tradable stock. And under the premise of it being at the highs and up big, it's up like 5%. So, hopefully more eyes catch on to this stock going into the final 65, 75 minutes here. All right, speaking of CXAI here, a nice pop from earlier today. Once the fuel runs out on the way up, it's not just going to stall there, so end up diving off. All right, so I keep looking back at my Tesla trade here. We'll jump back to that one more time. We have the Tesla, we have the Rocket trade on our side list. Halo on our main list, already covered this one to a great extent. Actually didn't cover the news or lack thereof. This is pretty interesting, right, Yehuda? One of our students I was chatting with earlier today, and he brought it to my attention. He's like, well, it's pretty surprising that this is down so much without even there being any news. I said, that's weird. I thought there was news, right? Halo, right? Well, of course, Halo, my dyslexia. So I looked up at Halo, and Yehuda, our student, was right. trading lower on abnormally high volume, not seeing any company-specific news to justify the price action. And Benzinga ain't saying that just to say it. So, yes, I think that there could be more room on the way down. I mean, why not? Just, I know it's down so much percentage-wise, but follow the trend first. Perhaps there could be more slippage. I was telling him actually in private chat earlier that there could be some historical support around 150-ish, around 150, 160-ish perhaps. Maybe I need to go back even lower at that point. But otherwise, yeah, I saw from, if it wasn't daily, it could have been the weekly chart, but 150. So if 2 doesn't hold here and this collapses, I think that this could have a long ways to go. It's already on our list there, so looking good. See if there's any good shorts out there otherwise, because obviously we're going to look for a dead cat bounce on that hollow stock. You can't short it, and it's down enough to where you want to get that squeeze. EPM dropped off earlier today, but kind of skimpy order book. Not a great need to put this on our watch list now. And I'll probably say that on a few different trades, but the IOVA stock, actually, this one's not looking half bad. Trading about 9,000-10,000 per minute. Good book. A little slow. That's the only thing I have with it. You know, we don't want to just be watching the grass grow for the next hour or so, right? So it's tradable. I mean, if you're trying to practice a short, again, I mean, wouldn't be a bad one to focus on. Grab probably going to be really flat here. Yeah. All right. So, hey, I'll toss it up to all of us here on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, X, whatever you want to call Twitter nowadays. Let me know if there's anything up, down, left, right, more than 5%. Just type it in the chat board here. Of course, for Brad, Barbara, Leda, Grant, John, and all of our students right now, definitely do the same. ICCT trying to inch up a bit. There's our FFIE already on our main list. There's Bed Bath Beyond. I intentionally said that this time, actually. BlackBerry, right? I always actually trip myself up over that. That time I actually purposely said Bed Bath Beyond. So let's take a look at a few of those stocks at least. Let's go to Bed Bath Beyond, right? BlackBerry. So popped up earlier today. Wow, this thing is still holding strong. Not only that, it actually made the full gap fill here at this point. So pretty interesting trade. We like interesting so long as it's tradable and showing trends. So yeah, nice trade on BlackBerry here, BB. Put that on our watch list there. What was the other one? I thought there was another one that popped up just a moment ago. It's not showing there now. Maybe it was this ICCT. Not much really to show there. All right, so I'll take a look if there's anything else, folks. A couple stocks earlier today we had called out. Unity, great short from the morning session. Same to be said on Roblox. Good short right now on Run, down 3+%. This just popped up from Benzinga. That actually I'm going to put down on our side list here for right now. That's probably one of the better short trades, that Run. Kohl's I had called out earlier today in the chat board, just saying it was at the lows, just scanned it. And it's nice to still see it at the low of the day right now, down actually a little bit more percentage-wise compared to the RUN. So it'd be hard to ignore either of those trades. In the event where the markets do pull back lower, those are probably your best. Oh, actually, and then on top of that, Coinbase, right? So Coinbase was not down like 4 or 5+%, whatnot, but had a nice drop off as well earlier, just before this meeting started. I was just typing that in on the chat board. So just trying to remember everything. That's all. So not really going to put it on the main list, but you might see us call it out around 3 o'clock, 3:15 if there's nothing else really going at that time. Mara is too slow right now. The cheaper it gets, the slower it gets. So, big fan of it as a swing trade, as a day trade short up until Bitcoin bounces off of like 23,400 or 23.5, that is, I should say. All right. So, hey, for all of us inside the Cyber Group room, last call, let me know right now. I shouldn't say necessarily last call. You'll be joining with Rich here coming up in about 15 minutes, and I'll be in the chat up until 3:30. 3:25. I got a dentist appointment at 4 o'clock. Got to make sure that we're good to go there. So, hey, up until then, I'll be in the chat board though. So for all of us in social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, X, YouTube, all of our social media streams, folks. I always like to do two things before we finish up. Post my email address here at the bottom. So just any questions that you have, feel free to shoot me over a quick trade or email josh@c2trading.com is the handle. And then otherwise, if you're interested in joining our live trading room, scan that QR code. If you're fancy with your phone, break out your camera, scan the QR code on the top left of the stream, get you access to a week-long trial inside our live trading room. And if you're not fancy with your phone, just go right down to the link on the green banner below the stream right there as it's going down there. You'll go to ctu.co/trial, and that way you'll be able to join us there inside our live trading room. We look forward to having you there. Then for Don and Brad and Leda and Barbara and Brian and the bees there tripping me up. I'm going to refill up on water, and then, hey, let's see if we can get some runners here heading into the close here, folks. All right, I'll talk to you all soon.